Okay, so welcome to this session of third week, second session, and here we will talk about how to go about need assessment, which is done at three levels, that is at the individual level, at the group level or the task level and the organization level. Now, what we are going to discuss here is, if you remember, when you are talking about assessment of human resource development needs, we discussed that first of all we have to find out that why there is a need assessment, okay, and how we collect about data, so that we can find out the training needs or the HRD needs of the people. And we discussed various methods about data collection of HRD needs. Now, this data collection related to HRD needs has to be at three levels, that is individual level, task level and the organization level. So, in this session what we are going to discuss is that how do we go about assessing needs at three different levels, that is individual level, organization level and task level, right. So, organization level basically we are going to talk about that how we are going to see that the requirement of the organization is met by the people in terms of having competencies and whether they would be able to meet the requirement of the organization under certain conditions. Now, second is that we are going to talk about the task level, whether the people have the competencies to perform their job effectively, which they are doing right now. Okay. And then finally, we look at the third level, that is the person level. That is where you have to see that once you have been able to do this, then you should be able to identify whether the person has the needed competencies and skills or not in order to perform their job effectively. Now, when we are talking about the different levels of assessment, we have to see that how do we go about collecting data and information related to these three parts, that is organization, task and person. Now, moving to the first stage, we have to see that what is the concerns of the managers, especially at three different levels of managers when it comes to need assessment at three different levels, that is organization level, person level and task level. Now, if you look at the role of the HRD professionals or the trainer who is going to provide training, okay, they are going to have certain concerns related to this one, like whether the budget is there or not, whether the management is going to be supportive or not, okay, because ultimately it is the responsibility of the trainers or the HRD system and the professionals to ensure that support in terms of resources, infrastructure, commitment and as a support of the top management is available. Okay. Then another important concern for trainers is that since they are involved in the process, they have to see that how what processes they are going to identify in order to find out the needs of the people, I mean training needs of the people. Now, once they are able to do it, they also need to identify specifically that okay, what are the training needs of the employees specifically for different type of things that they are going to do in terms of increasing their knowledge, or whether they need to increase their skills or abilities or anything else. Okay. Since training can be given in technical or non-technical areas, so they have to identify that training is to be given in which area, right. Now, the concern of middle managers is something different. They want to ensure that the money spent on training is worth it. What I mean to say is that when they are going to conduct a training program, whether it is in house or out or it is being outsourced, one thing that they have to understand that when they are going to spend money on these kind of programs, whether it is worth it, whether it is going to meet goals and objectives of the business or not. Okay. And another issue that is very important is what are the jobs for which training is more important. Not necessarily that for all the jobs they are going to provide training, and who should be provided training, whether it is going to be senior managers, middle managers, junior managers or other professionals. So, that is the concern of the middle managers. Now, the top management concern is something different. They have to see that how important training is for the business, and if it becomes more important provided it meets the goals and objectives of the business. If it is helping in achieving the business goals and objectives, then the top management is going to be more supportive and committed to the cause of the training, because now they know that okay, this is going to help in some way to achieve our goals and objectives, because once people are trained, they would be able to perform better, right. Now, he is also concerned about okay, let us classify the kind of people, the level of people and the kind of training needs that is going to be there and how it is going to help us. So, they need to establish a direct link between the training and the goals and objectives of the organization. Okay. And they also want to see that what is the gap, whether people with requisite knowledge and skill are available or not. And in the process, all these three people, line managers, senior managers as well as HRD professionals, have to integrate and act together at different levels to identify okay, requirement of the organization, requirement of the person and the gap in the performance, or whether the person had the needed knowledge and skill base or not, that is at the task. Now, once we have looked into the concerns for the top managers, middle managers and trainers, what we need to look at is that okay, how do we go about it? See, this is the entire need assessment process. First of all, we go for organizational analysis, then person analysis and then finally task analysis. And that is how once these three things are done, then we would be able to identify a position ourselves in terms of identifying training needs of the people. And then again we go for evaluation, whether it is worth doing it or not, what kind of context in which the people need to be trained, okay, and whether or what kind of support systems and culture and climate and leadership is required, so that people are able to transfer what they have learned in a training program on the job. Now, if you look at this organizational analysis starts with scanning the environment, looking at the strategic directions, management support okay, for training and the resources. So, in that terms we have to go for organizational analysis. Similarly, for person we have to say in terms of what kind of inputs he is going to provide, what are the expected output, what is the consequences of that, whether you are going to provide them feedback or not. Similarly, for task you want to see what are the things that he does, whether he has the requisite knowledge skill base or not. So, all this analysis basically help them to identify the training requirement, and then accordingly you are going to decide about the kind of intervention in terms of methods and other things that you are going to plan for the training activities. Now, we will discuss it one by one. So, we will start with strategic what you call organizational analysis, as I told you. So, this is going to provide you a broad view of the need in terms of what organization wants, okay. Because after scanning the environment, organization is in a position to find out what are the goals and objectives which they want to achieve within a given time frame, and in order to achieve these goals and objectives, what kind of strategies they have. Okay. So, this strategic analysis helps them to identify what are the things that needs to be done in order to achieve the goals and objectives of the organization, and this provides a overview of the entire organization in terms of what they want to do and how do they go about it. So, once that is identified, what is to be done? Move to the next stage, and in this area probably we talk about certain things in terms of climate, resources, goals and objectives and the constraints. When I am talking about in order to identify strategic goals or strategic analysis, we have to see what is the goals and objectives of the organization that is to be achieved within a given time frame, and in order to achieve those goals and objectives, what kind of resources is available, and the culture and climate of the organization, whether it is going to be supportive or not, and the most important thing is in what kind of environment you are operating in. If you remember, we talked about environmental constraints, whether that is the kind of environment that you are going to face, because environment is going to provide you a big challenge. So, if environment is not supportive, what I mean to talk about here is external environment in terms of technology, economy, polity, society and culture. If these factors are favorable, probably that would facilitate in achieving the goals and objectives of the organization. So, if the analysis starts from identifying the constraints in the environment, which are either going to facilitate hinder or those factors which are going to facilitate the process. So, once you are able to identify the level of uncertainty in the environment, that is going to tell the kind of constraints that you are going to face. Based on these constraints, you are going to identify the goals and objectives of the organization, right. And then in order to support these goals and objectives, you need to identify the kind of resources that you need, and people are also a resource for that, because they are going to help you to achieve the goals and objectives. And then you have to say whether the environment, internal working environment in terms of supervisor, leadership, culture, whether it is supportive or not. So, that is a part of what you call organizational climate. Okay. So, as a part of our organizational analysis, once we do it, we are able to proceed further and see how it is going to be done. Now, once we are able to complete this part, then we move to see that in what way HRD programs are going to help in achieving the goals and objectives of the organization. Now, the idea is that suppose organization is going for one particular strategy. Okay. So, they want to go for a new product, right. So, if they want to go for a new product in the market, or they want to add certain features in a product which they already have. Now, with the objective to go for this kind of a strategy is to see that they are able to capture more market, or they are able to increase their revenue, profit or market share. So, with these goals and objectives, once they proceed further, they have to see that what are the resources that is available, right, and that is where the role of HRD comes into the picture, because you are treating people here as a resource, and when you are saying that people as a resource, so you have to see that whether people have the needed competency, okay. And if they do not have, then you can plan for intervention related to innovation, creativity, right, product development, so that people develop those competencies which would be required to go for a new product development, right. And that is how you are going to tie or link HRD programs to corporate goals and or objectives. Now, once you are able to do it, you have to see that how HRD is going to help you to achieve these business goals and objectives. So, once you are going to make sure that people have the needed competency in terms of knowledge, skill and behavior, which is going to help them to facilitate new product development, then you would be able to establish a better link between how HRD is going to help in achieving goals and objectives, which is going to generate more profit or better business for the organization, right. And if you are able to prove that, probably you get a better support from the top management. If you remember, in the beginning we talked about the kind of support that is required. So, for HRD activities, you definitely need support and commitment from the top management, provided you are able to convince the top management about the utility of the HRD programs and in what way it is going to help the business to achieve its objective, right. So, the idea is that you have to think of HRD investments as a revenue generator, not a profit waster, because in most cases HR departments are considered as spender of the revenue, not revenue generator. So, if you are able to convince the top management that HRD is going to be a revenue generator, not a waster of the profit, probably you get better support, okay, for conducting these kind of programs, which is going to help the organization to achieve goals and objectives of the business. Now, how do you get data about this? So, the data comes from the mission statement, because mission tells you what are the specific things that we want to achieve. Actually, it all starts with the vision statement. So, vision is where you are and where you want to go. What do you want to visualize, say 10 years later or 5 years later? That could be reflected to your vision statements. So, once vision statement is clear, then you move to the next stage, that is mission statement, where specifically you say that what are the things that you want to have, right. So, once mission statement is made, then you have to see that in what way HR inventory is going to help you. HRM inventory means that the quality and quantity of people that you have, the quality and quantity of people which would be required in order to achieve the goals and objectives that is stated in the mission statement, right. So, HRM inventory can help you in terms of what you call the knowledge and skill inventory, quality of working life that people have, because it is going to support the system, and what is the efficiency indexes in terms of cost, quality, product, all kind of efficiency indexes can be created, because that gives you an idea your efficiency level and where you are and where you want to go. So, the data related to this could be obtained in order to get further and see that how this kind of analysis is going to help you to find out about the requirement of the organization in terms of needed competencies, right, and what kind of changes you want to bring in the system, because you are moving from one stage to another stage. So, in order to bring about a change in the system, whether people have those competencies or not, so that they are able to bring a change in the system. And another important thing, that those people who are leaving the organization, they also can provide you feedback about the organization in terms of its strategies, goals and objectives, quality of people, right, systems that you have, okay, because they can provide you valuable input about the organization. So, there could be various sources of information to go for organizational analysis. Now, we are moving to another important activity for need assessment, and that is task analysis. Now, task analysis basically is what? You want to identify the different kind of activities that people are going to do as a part of their job, and whether they are able to do it efficiently or not, right, and what are the sources of data that you have in order to get this kind of analysis, right. So, we are moving to task analysis, and now if you look at it, basically you need data about the specific job or group of jobs that people are performing. So, the data about tasks and responsibilities come from where? There could be different sources, and the most important source is job description, because job description basically gives you data about the duties, tasks and responsibilities which a person is supposed to perform in a given job, right. So, once job description is clear, you will be in a position to identify what are the duties and responsibilities that a person is supposed to do, and what kind of performance level you expect from them, and whether he is able to do it effectively or not, right. So, if you look at the various sources, the most important source, as I told you is job description, because job description is basically nothing else, but it consists of tasks, duties and responsibilities, and the kind of knowledge and skill that is required for doing this job. So, here in job description, basically you are matching job specifications and job description both, right. So, job description consists of tasks, duties and responsibilities, and then you have job specifications which tells you about the knowledge and skill base that is required to perform the job, right. So, job description is one source. There could be other sources, how the task is being done by the individual, what are the processes which people do or perform in order to do their job effectively. And the third one is, for each of the tasks, what is the performance level that person is supposed to achieve, right. So, you have data about tasks, duties and responsibilities, the processes or the way it is done, what are the performance standards or the benchmarks that is supposed to be achieved, and whether he is able to perform this job up to that level or not. So, that gives you an information whether there is a gap in the performance, whether he knows how to do it or not, or whether he is clear about the job description, the duties and responsibilities or not. So, that actually is done when you are going for task analysis, right. And another way, if you want to get data, that you can go and observe that and see that how people are performing their job, what are the different kind of things they are doing, and whether they are able to achieve the expected level of performance set by the organization or the management or not, right. And then you can ask different questions if you are not clear that okay, how you are doing it, whether you are meeting targets or not, what are the problems that you are facing in doing it, whether there is a better way of doing it or not. So, you can ask lot of questions to clarify your doubts related to job, the task and the way it is to be done, right. So, this is related to task analysis and task performance. So, I have given here one example, task analysis for HRD professionals. So, first of all, what you need to do is that you need to identify different kind of tasks that a person is going to do it, right. And you are also going to look at within the task different kind of subtasks, okay. And then For each task, you are going to identify what is the knowledge and skill base that is going to be performed by the individual. Say for example, if you look at the job of the HRD professional, job of the HRD professional is what? Manage the training system, training department, organize a training program, evaluate the program. So, there could be different tasks, right, related to it. So, now for each of these tasks you have to identify what are the different subtasks. So, managing the training department, there could be a number of tasks. Similarly, if you are going to organize a program, there are different steps that you have to follow. In order to evaluate a training program, also you are going to do different kind of tasks, right. I am giving just one example, it is not an exhaustive list. And then how we are going to collect data? You have to see that how the training function is managed by the HRD professional as the HRD manager. So, you go for observations, you are going to see that okay, how this is being done, done using the verb, okay, this job is done by this, okay, and then you are going to record these behaviors, and the same thing we are going to do for the subtask also, okay, because these are the list of tasks. Then you are moving further and you are going to talk about list of subtasks. And here for each task, for example, the manage the training function, what are the different subtasks that a person is going to perform, and you are also going through the same process to collect data about various subtasks using observations and recording it and doing these kind of things. Okay. And that is how you are going to complete the task analysis. Now, moving further, and the third phase is what we call is the person analysis, and in the person analysis what we are going to do? We are going to see whether the person has the requisite knowledge and skill base or not. What I mean to say here is that when I am going for person analysis is whether there is a gap between his knowledge and skill base, okay, and that is expected from him and that what he has, because training needs of each individual can be specific and very, very different, and that is up to that you have to identify based on several sources. For example, you can go for observations, you can look at it archives, performance records. So, this is going to provide you a data about the performance level of the individual and what is the expected performance level. So, based on this analysis, you would be in a position to see whether the person has that or not, okay. And that is going to tell you whether you are able to achieve the expected performance level or not. Okay. So, you are going to see once you are able to identify the gap in the performance, what could be the reasons, why this level of performance is or the expected level of performance is not achieved. There could be different reasons, not necessary that he is lacking knowledge and skill base. It may be that he is not motivated enough, it may be that he is not interested, he does not find the job challenging. There could be different factors because of the gap in the performance. So, not necessary that you are going to provide the training, and that is why once you decide that oh yes, training is the solution, you have to see whether there is a gap in the competencies which needs to be bridged in order to see that the person performs up to the expected level or not, right. And for that you go for identifying the reasons for performance, and this reasons for bad performance could be attributed to a number of factors, right. It could be attributed to the individual's knowledge and skill base, it could be supported to the resource and support that is getting from the organization, right. It could be attributed to the supervisor who may not be supportive. So, there could be a number of factors which either facilitate or hinder effective performance. So, it is must when you are going for person analysis to identify what is the reason for good or bad performance, right. Now, if you look at this, it would be clear to you, because one way to look at deficiency in the performance comes from the performance appraisal, because performance appraisal basically gives you the data about the discrepancies in the performance, that is expected performance and ideal performance, right. and then you identify or analyze performance in order to see that what is the basis, whether it is related to internal factors or external factors, whether it is related to motivation, interest, knowledge and skill base, or whether it is related to support from the system, supervisor and other factors, right. So, once this kind of analysis is complete and you are able to identify that it is attributed to internal factors, and accordingly you are going to plan the intervention, because once you are able to identify the need of the people, only then you move further and proceed about conducting the program. And if it is attributed to external factors, then you have to go for some kind of intervention and ensure that resource, support, commitment and facilities are available for him to perform the job well, right. So, these three kind of analysis is done in order to ensure that you are able to identify the training needs of the people. Now, if you look at it, how do you go about it? What I am trying to do here is that I am going to combine both the strategic analysis that we have to do at different levels, and then we also need to see that how we are going to look at it at different levels, that is organization level or the person level or the individual level, that is process level and the individual levels. And if you have different kind of variables, so you have to see that whether the goals and objectives, whether the system, the structure, culture, climate and resources, or the capacity of the people, whether the motivation or the expertise, because these are the factors which are going to contribute to the performance of the organization. Now, if you are going to relate these factors with the different level of variables, say organization, so you have to see whether the goals and objectives of the mission actually has been made after doing a thorough analysis of the environment or not, because if your strategic goals and objectives has not emanated from what you call the environment, probably you are not going to be successful, right. And whether the system and structure that you have is supportive in nature or not, because these are the organizational level variables, the culture, the leadership factors, these are very important, the infrastructure, support, because they are going to provide support to the people to perform well. Then you have to see that you have the right kind of people, and that depends upon your selection process. So, you have to see that we are going to select competent people for the job. Then looking into the processes, how the things have been identified in terms of goals and strategies, right, and whether these processes have been established as a system which is going to help our support, right, and whether these processes have the capacity to perform or not in terms of quality, quantity and these kind of things, because if it is not, then probably you will not be able to achieve the performance goals, right. Similarly, if you look at the individual level, okay, whether the people are familiar with this or not, and whether the goals and objectives of the individual groups and organizations are in congruence with each other or not, and whether individual goals are contributing to organizational goals or not, right, what kind of obstacles they are facing in order to perform the job effectively, whether they have the support system or not, right, whether their physical, mental, all kind of abilities are available with them or not, okay, and whether they are really interested and motivated to learn and perform better or not. So, these are the questions that need to be asked in order to see that you are able to do this analysis in a better way to identify and assess the needs of the people in the organization. Now, the basic objective of this need assessment is what? To identify the gap in the performance of the people, right, because if you are able to identify the gap in the need of the people, and that is what we call the gap analysis. So, basically the gap analysis tells you the difference between your current state and the desired state of performance, right. So, what you need to see that you are able to do this analysis, integrating your individual, group and organizational analysis at different levels to identify the gap of the people, and the gap could be of different kinds. Okay. It could be in terms of deficiency in the skill and knowledge base, it could be deficiency in the the way organization is being managed in terms of systems, structure and processes. It could be it could be in terms of management, how you are going to treat people in the organization, and also how the organization is designed in terms of structure and other things and managed. So, the gap could be at different levels, what could be related to internal or external factors, right. So, accordingly you decide what kind of gaps have been identified, whether there is a gap in the knowledge and skill base, whether there are external factors which are attributed to bad performance, whether there are factors relate to organization and support system, whether there is a factors relate to culture and leadership. Okay. So, this will help to identify the gap at different levels, and once this gap analysis is done, it means you would be able to identify what kind of requirements people have that needs to be bridged, right. So, once this gap is identified based on this analysis, you will be able to identify who are the people who needs training. Similarly, will also be identified what kind of training would be required at different levels and what are the reasons for this gap, and that is the basic objective of this gap analysis. Thank you very much.